Hey everybody, it's Jackie from Otherwise, and welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to make a chicken and rice casserole. So let's go over the ingredients list. So for the sauce, we're going to start with 1/4 of a cup of butter, 1/3 of a cup of flour, 1/2 teaspoon of salt, and 1/8 teaspoon of pepper. 1 1/2 cups of chicken broth, 1 cup of milk, 2 cups of chopped chicken, 2 cups of rice, a cup of broccoli, and about 4 ounces of mushrooms. So let's get started. So first we're going to start with 1/4 of a cup of butter, and we're going to melt that. So I'm going to add 1/3 of a cup of flour and whisk that in. And I'm going to cook that for just a minute. And what you're trying to look for is it's going to start turning a little darker color, and you might notice a smell of a nutty smell, and I smell that, and that just means that it's done on that side. I'm going to stir it up a little bit more and let it cook, because you don't want a raw flour taste in your food. And to this I'm going to add 1/2 teaspoon of salt, 1/4 teaspoon of pepper, and 1 1/2 cups of milk. I'm going to stir it up and try to get rid of all the lumps. And anything you got left around the sides. And it's going to start thickening up, especially when it starts bubbling. It's going to get thicker. Alright, now we're going to remove it from the heat. I'm going to add a cup of broth, chicken broth. And this is thickened broth. I made it myself, and it's been in the refrigerator. We'll stir that in. And go. Loosened it up a little bit. And I'm going to add the rest of my ingredients. So I've got 2 cups of cooked chicken. And I've got a lot of broccoli. I really like broccoli, especially in this dish. And the last time I made it, it didn't have enough. You can add a different vegetable. You can add peppers or any vegetable of your choosing. And I'm going to add some mushrooms that I sauteed, and in the bottom of it is some onions, because I just love onions and want to put onions in everything, but you don't have to put that in here. And hear it bubbling, so I'm just going to stir it. Now we're going to add some. Now we're going to add some rice. I've got 2 cups of rice here that I've already made. If you make rice earlier in the week, you can make some extra and have it just for this casserole. And we're just going to stir this up to coat everything and get it all mixed in. Now, that looks good. So next, I have a casserole dish. I'm going to go ahead and turn my oven on to 350. And you can eat it like this if you like. You could put some slivered almonds on the top and just eat it just like this. Or you can bake it a little bit longer in the oven. I'm going to bake mine. Now I'm just going to spoon this over into my casserole dish. Now this is an ungreased casserole dish. Smooth that down just a little bit. And then we're going to bake this for 40 minutes on 350 degrees. So while that's cooking, I want to talk to you a little bit about a casserole. So a casserole requires a few things. You need some meat. So that can be any leftover meat that you have. You can use a cup, or you can use up to 2 cups. And you can use up to 2 cups for a 9 by 13 pan. You need vegetables, and you need a sauce. So in this case, we used a white sauce. And we started with a roux, so that's the flour and the butter mixed together, and you cook it a little bit. So we also added milk, and we added leftover chicken broth. Now, it wasn't exactly leftover because I made it special. So I boiled my chicken bones and what was stuck to the bones, and I made a broth. Now there was some broth in with the chicken when I boiled it, what was left, I put that aside, but I also made some what you call bone broth, and we'll do that at another time. So I used that chicken broth, and we made a chicken flavored sauce. So you can combine anything that you have in the refrigerator. So if you have leftover green beans and broccoli and corn and you want to put that in this dish, you can. And that's what I recommend. I recommend you stirring up everything that you have left over from the week. Make it plain the first time you make it. If you have a lot of spices in it, it's not going to taste as good in the casserole because you want everything to go together. In the casserole, the sauce will flavor it, but you need to make sure to put salt and pepper in it. The casserole is mix and match. So you can have ham in this casserole. You could have ground beef. You could have leftover steak, pork. You could use anything, any kind of meat that you like. You can use any vegetables, as long as you think that they will go together. But they need to be plain. I wouldn't put marinated artichoke hearts in there. So mix and match and make your own casserole. So that's my suggestion. And I'll see you after the dinner's done. So our casserole is done. Let's give it a taste. So that's really good. The chicken is chunky, so you get a good bite of chicken. And I cut the mushrooms up I chop them. They're not in slices, they're chopped. So you get a big chunk of mushroom and also the broccoli. So it's really good, it's very tasty, and I hope that you will make a casserole. It's really easy. You just throw everything together and add some sauce. So I'm going to talk to you about sauce also. So in this one I made a chicken sauce because we use chicken. If you use beef, you can use beef stock or beef broth to flavor the gravy. You can make a regular gravy, you can make white sauce, you can use an instant pack of gravy if you have to. It's really easy, and I hope that you'll try it. And remember, dinner's at 6.